Hey folks, welcome to my YouTube channel, Dennis Martin Gillen, reporting for duty. I don't know how to do it, but you're supposed to hit the like button there and subscribe. We'll get to that later. I don't know how to do that stuff, but if you like what you hear, subscribe. Real quick, today I'm going to talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, and I imagine I had it after the loss of two brothers to suicide. Gosh, I think at one point, if you have a traumatic event, you're going to have it, and there's an option there for post-traumatic stress growth. We'll talk about that later, but let's talk about PTSD and the day I saw it at a homeless shelter. I was doing my talk, it's called Transitions. It's in Columbia, South Carolina, and I have a witness to this conversation. I had a young intern with me, and we were walking through the courtyard. There's two buildings at Transitions. You check in here, and then where we did our talk was over here. And they had a nice little courtyard. They had some gardens there, stuff to help people get out of their minds. There was a smoking area. That was always popular. And so we're walking through the courtyard, and we run into this young guy. And I mean young guy, like 20, 21, 22. Looked fine. Everything about him, his appearance, short hair, I thought maybe military, and I just stopped in the courtyard. He was in our session, and I just said, "Hey dude, what are you doing here? What are you doing in this homeless shelter?" Just an honest question, guy to guy. And he goes, "Oh man, I'm having a rough go of it. I have post-traumatic stress disorder. I was in the Middle East, and he was in a tank, and they shot an anti-tank missile at him, and it glanced off the tank. The angle, the way it hit, he goes, I could hear this. It was a woo, 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 and the thing binged off there, and it freaked them out. They probably should have died that day, but because of the angle of the shot and the angle of the tank, it went ding and blew up away from the tank. He lives another day. He said everything over there messed with him. And literally, as we're talking, and you could hear the road noise out here, we were outside, a car backfired. Boom! The muffler just popped, and this kid about jumped out of his skin. And I said, "Oh, that must happen all the time." And he said, "Sir," and this is what he told me about PTSD. He goes, "Sir, that's not the worst of it. That stuff freaks me out a little bit. My heart rate accelerates and I calm down." He goes, "You know what the worst is? And anyone with PTSD, please put your comments and let me know what the worst is for you." But he said the worst for him was he can't sleep. At night, he goes to close his eyes. The images, the trauma returns, and he cannot sleep. And if you know anything about sleep deprivation, it's awful for your head. Awful, absolutely awful. Think about us, all of us. If we have a bad night's sleep, it typically means we're gonna have a bad day. It just sets the tone. And I went and saw a neuroscientist talk about sleep, and I talk about this in my talk. 3 tips for sleep, and if you're struggling with sleep, this is your tips. This is for you. 1, the room has to be dark. The room has to be dark. The room has to be cold, and some kind of white noise. Those 3, try it. Like right now, I can hear a guy blowing leaves. If I was trying to take a nap, I would put on my white noise machine, and I would not hear that. And it just seems to turn my mind off. So that's what the guy was dealing with, post-traumatic stress disorder. And if you know a veteran or a first responder who's dealing with post-traumatic stress, message me. Just message me. I will point you in the right direction. There's this thing called Warrior Path, and these folks really have multiple sites. We have one here in South Carolina at the Big Red Barn. I will hook you up with the right people at the right spot. A veteran or somebody in law enforcement, first responder that's dealing with that, we're here to help them and try to take that PTSD and turn it into PTSG, which is post-traumatic stress growth. All right, folks, that's the PTSD story. Hope you can recognize when it's impacting your life, and hopefully you get the help you need. You know why? Because you are worth it. Over and out.